are starting to trickle in. So I think we should probably get started then. So hi everybody, and welcome to Ku-ring-gai Council's Green Your Canteen webinar. Thanks for coming. I hope that during today's presentation you'll gain some insight into how to manage canteens and early learning kitchens more effectively. And in the process, you can save money, reduce single-use plastics, and be kinder to the environment. I'm just going to share my other screen now. So just bear with me for a tick. All right. Can everybody see that? Oh, there we are. Good. All right. So, sorry. So my name is Sally Erickson and I'm the Sustainability Education Officer here at Ku-ring-gai Council. So my role is to support schools and early learning communities in implementing sustainability programs and adopting sustainable procedures and policies and opportunities for children to learn about being sustainable. My offsider helping me here today is Amanda Choi from Better Business Partnership, and that's an arm of council that supports businesses such as early learning centres to adopt a sustainable approach to their day-to-day functioning. I'm coming to you today from Terra Marigal, or some people might know it as Darra Marigal land. On behalf of Ku-ring-gai Council, I would like to pay tribute to our past Aboriginal elders. We acknowledge the First Nations people's care and connection with country, and we hope to learn from them in the future. Now to some Zoom housekeeping. We'll be recording today's session to send around to other canteen managers and early learning managers who couldn't be here today. But don't worry, no one will be able to see you or hear you. I can't even see anybody. If you have questions about anything, feel free to type them in the Q&A box for us to answer at the end in our Q&A session with the presenters. The chat box is just for technical issues, for general comments and hyperlinks, that sort of thing. So please just stick to the Q&A box for your questions. And if anyone has any questions for any of the presenters, please feel free to put them in the Q&A box at any time. This afternoon's webinar will consist of two experts in the field of canteen management who will deliver their tips and tricks for how to reduce plastic in your canteen or early learning kitchen. These canteens and kitchens play a powerful role in modelling sustainability choices to students, staff and families, and to potentially change the direction of waste behaviours towards a better future for all. With around 51 primary and high schools in Ku-ring-gai and 63 early learning centres, we can make a real difference to developing sustainable habits in children and young adults that show consideration for our environment by protecting our local areas from plastic pollution and reducing waste to landfill. First up, we'll hear from canteen consultant Shireen Lagasse, owner of Food Nasties and Plastic Nasties, and secondly, from Kate Reid, who is canteen manager from Wakehurst Public School. So without any further ado, let's hear from our experts. So this is Shireen Lagasse from Food Nasties and Plastic Nasties, has over 11 years experience working with schools and canteen managers across New South Wales to help them eliminate using single-use plastic. Previously a canteen manager herself at several primary and high schools, she brings a plethora of knowledge and is passionate about nutrition and the environment. Shireen has transformed more than 40 school canteens and currently works as a consultant alongside several councils' sustainability and waste departments. Her company, Food Nasties and Plastic Nasties, also focuses on creating recycling systems and programs for limiting food waste in schools. If you have any questions for Shireen, please type them into the Q&A box at any time.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much, first of all, for having me today, Ku-ring-gai Council, and everybody out there in webinar land that's listening and watching. Appreciate you having me here today, and hopefully, in this presentation, I can share with you some very easy and simple tips and tricks to eliminating single-use plastic, and hopefully eliminating food waste and helping you recycle better in school as a whole. So we'll go on to the next slide. So I do post this slide in this particular presentation. I want everybody to rethink about recycling as our last option. I would like you to rethink, then refuse an item, reduce an item, reuse an item, and lastly, recycle the item. And obviously with responsible disposal. This is a really important slide for you to start teaching students as well as yourself on other ways to rethink about reusing and upcycling, and obviously refusing any item with plastic before you consider recycling it. So it's a really great little slide that you can just print and post and keep handy in the canteen or in school areas. So this presentation is particularly called Swap This for That, because I'm hopefully going to give you an idea to swap a plastic choice or a poor choice that you might be currently using for something that would be slightly better, and then a choice that would be a fantastic choice to eliminate plastic in the canteen. Okay. So clearly, obviously, everyone knows about plastic bottles, but I think we need to be conscious about how much of a plastic bottle is really getting recycled. And the reason I show this slide is because some schools still carry plastic bottles, primary schools as well as high schools. And it is one of the majority of the plastic items that I ask for schools to eliminate immediately. There's no need for schools to be carrying bottles in plastic. Even if you do return and earn them or recycle them, we can see that not all of it is being recycled. So very important for you to know that plastic bottles, even though they say they're recycled and made with 100% recycled materials, they are not. So the best thing to do is just not offer them to students and teachers in the school. The next slide will show you some options. So what I've done in this slide is showing you, obviously, the poor choice of the Mount Franklin plastic water bottle. A better choice in your school would be to carry a Just Water bottle, which is made from recycled materials. It is a better option, but clearly the Wallaby, which is from Australia, from Melbourne, they're a Melbourne-based company that makes in a stainless steel bottle, an aluminium bottle. That is a better choice for your school to eliminate the plastic. I do often tell my schools that I work with, I do try to keep buying items within Australia or within a neighboring country, as opposed to buying something from the United States or China, which is always great to have local providers. So the Wallaby is a great choice, especially with that cap and in that container, which is also return and earn. And the last one is our best option, which is a reusable bottle. So again, rethinking how you purchase items. Just because something is recyclable or return and earn, it's not necessarily the best choice. I think we've all learned that reusables in a school canteen is the dream choice and the one that eliminates the most waste in a school canteen. So water bottles are very simple to purchase. A stainless steel water bottle at a very low cost, and have them used when needed, emergency only. Kids should be bringing their own water bottles to school, as we all know. So these can sit in the canteen, labeled, please return to the canteen. They could be on a borrow system, and an investment for the school canteen to have. One of my biggest complaints and concerns from canteen managers is soy sauce fish, which we're all very well aware that they end up all over the beachfront, especially here in the northern beaches where I am, but all across Australia and the world. That red cap is always off that little fish body. Most of our marine life ingests that, or it gets stuck along the coral reefs or just along the beach. It is a very simple item to remove from the canteen. Most of my schools that I work with, it is the first thing I ask them to get rid of, and we replace it with a soy sauce station at a reusable, refillable soy sauce. So you no longer need to ask your sushi provider to give those to you anymore. It's simply asking them to no longer send them. they'll be happy to accommodate that, as there is no cost to them any longer. But this is the number one item to change. It is very simple. Kids can come up to the canteen counter or to a small table set to the side where they can get their own soy sauce. Soy sauce can also be sent in a basket if students eat in their classroom. It can also be sent to their classroom, and it can be used in there in a refillable bottle. The next slide. Here's some samples of sushi. So following the soy sauce removal of the soy sauce fish, another item that is a common problem is sushi wrapped in plastic film. Again, this is a very simple and easy item to remove immediately. You ask your sushi provider to please no longer send it in the film and to send it without it. Some sushi places call that naked sushi. You can send that out to the students in a wrapped, unbleached brown paper piece of paper, or it can go into a little bag that you might currently be putting a sausage roll in, or a lolly bag that may be out of paper. The sushi can go in that. Some sushi restaurants provide their own. We'll send it with you as well. This is a very efficient and quick and effective way to eliminate single-use plastic, especially if you are selling 300 to 700 sushis a week. You can imagine that 700 pieces of plastic times 40 school weeks, it's 28,000 pieces of plastic that you can eliminate immediately by asking your sushi provider to stop sending it with the film and putting it into a brown paper bag or a piece of paper. Next, please. Yeah, so again, back on cling film. So talking about the film, cling film is clearly not a recyclable product. It is full of chemicals, and it is one of my biggest problems that I'm dealing with in schools is helping them eliminate cling film, which might be used to wrap large containers or to wrap sandwiches. So I just wanted to give you the history about the chemicals that are in plastic wrap, and to please say no to cling film at any time you can. I'll give you some ideas on the next slide, how to do that. So I've gone, as I mentioned, from an easy option. If you really feel that you can't get rid of it, there are some other options out there that offer cling film that might be plant-based, compostable, or biodegradable. Please do your research and read the back of the product to understand where it actually can be composted and if it can actually break down. I understand like some catering restaurants and some larger cafes really need to use it. So please use a better eco-friendly cling film if you have to. Another choice is beeswax wrap, which we all know is fantastic. It can be hard to use in certain situations, but it is a fantastic option for items in the fridge and smaller items and bowls and things like that, and can be a great school project for kids to be involved with the canteen, creating the beeswax wraps. Next is the silicone covers, which we can buy pretty much anywhere now. Kmart is a great location, Big W, Target, online, eBay, a kitchen grade silicone, which will cover most items. You can see in the picture, it can cover the watermelon exactly without using cling film, and bowls, big, small, all different sizes are now available. They're an excellent option. Silicone is a great product to work with, and it can be washed and kept clean for quite a long time. And lastly, glass. Any type of glass container, which is reusable, Pyrex is a fantastic choice for storing items. Here's some actual images from canteens that I've been involved with of how they serve certain items without cling film. The items on the counter on the top right, you can see they've got open homemade items. A lot of the schools, while in between service, they'll cover them with a food cover, one maybe like a stainless steel netting, an iron thing, or a cloth, just to cover that from anything. Cups in popcorn in melamine cups, popcorn in actually paper bags, as opposed to anything plastic, and not using plastic cups. So this is a great little slide to see how people are not using plastic over the counter. Next slide, please. This is a beautiful canteen over here on the northern beaches called St. Cecilia's. She makes everything homemade. She's very fortunate she can do that. And she also serves everything out of plastic. You can see what she does there with the fruit and the cookies and the watermelon, and serves it to the children on either a napkin or in a paper bag or a craft plate. paper plate. So this is a great visual to see how functionality can be done without using plastic. I'll take the next slide. Another great concern when I visit canteens is the small little squeeze me portions, which is very wasteful and a one-time use, and are found a lot of times all over the streets and the beaches as well, and in the school grounds especially. So you can see the option in the middle is a reusable ketchup or barbecue sauce that we all most of us probably have at home. So those can be set at the kitchen window of the canteen. Students can come up and use those for their sausage rolls, for their pies, for whatever they want. And that can be done either, as I mentioned, with the soy sauce at the same table off the side of the canteen or in the window. Students, maybe the SRC might want to help serve that for a while till the students can get used to it. Teachers might want to help. It can also go to the classroom in their baskets if students eat in their classroom. Best option is the final one, the pump, which is a stainless steel pump, which a lot of my high schools use. And so that's just a pump, and it goes into either straight onto their food item or into a small plant-based portion cup, which is at the bottom, which I do use instead of the plastic portion cup that a lot of schools still use today for takeaway sauces or for icy pulls. So that is a really great item for every canteen to carry, is that plant-based portion cup. Okay, a lot of the next topic I'd like to share with you is drinks in the canteen, which is a common problem about plastic drinks. I wanted to give you options of a similar product that would be great, but also in an aluminium product that can be returned and earned. So the three on the left are common ones that I see everywhere that I'd like to offer. The Glee would be a great substitute for Chill. The Juice Bomb is a great substitute for Chill. Emma and Tom's is a healthier substitute, better nutritional product, locally made, an Australian company. So that's really great as well. Up on the top is Nexpa, again, an Australian company, a Northern Beaches company that makes that. No additives, no artificial colors or flavors. Really great option to change out from the Chill and the Waterfords and the Chill J, which are full of artificial colors and flavors. So I just wanted to give canteen managers that are watching the webinar a quick and easy snapshot of better choices that are not in plastic and that are also nutritionally better as well. So if you have some time, you can have a look at those. Poppers, which are a non-recyclable product, they may be return and earned some places, but with the straw and a plastic covering the straw, they make it environmentally a disastrous product. So that's another product that I do highly encourage canteens to try to switch out. I understand the price point is very good on poppers, and obviously kids love them, but environmentally they are not good and they're not recyclable. So I do offer the choice of Emma and Tom's, and some of you might be saying, well, that's in plastic, and you're right, it is. It is an Australian company, which is fantastic. Nutritionally, it's outstanding, and it is return and earn. And when you're trying to kind of pick the best product that you can, it's the straw and the plastic we're trying to eliminate, the three pieces of waste. And if you can set up a return and earn on school grounds, which we can talk about later, that Emma and Tom's can be returned and earned. The money can be returned back to the school and used to the canteen or to the sustainability efforts the school might be trying to achieve. East Coast is another Australian company that makes the only juice I can find. That's okay. The only juice I can find in a can. So it is a Melbourne-based company, which is fantastic, but hard to find. And it mostly, that size is really only for high schools. But just showing you that just to bear in mind, getting rid of the poppers is really what we want to work with. If anyone has any questions in the Q&A about other ideas, I'm happy to share those privately for your school. Next is ice creams and icy pulls, which is another huge problem with single-use plastic and creating waste. The top juice farm is not recyclable. It has an aluminium little seal, and it's nutritionally not great. And the bottom, I spoke about those earlier. A lot of schools use little plastic cups and pour 100% juice in it and sell those, sometimes big or small. A great if you want to keep those, because they are a great money maker for a canteen, and you can choose a better juice, is to switch to a plant-based portion cup, which means that that portion can be recycled in cardboard paper as well as compost if you have a compost on your property. So that is a great easy fix, and you no longer need to buy the juice farm, and your profit margin will be a lot greater. Zuper Duper is another horrible product, nutritionally as well as environmentally. So obviously the best choice for that would be a homemade icy pole, which there's several ways to achieve that. In all different sizes, in either plastic molds that are reusable or stainless steel molds, which can be purchased on eBay or in stores anywhere on the internet. And again, that's information I can give you later if you have questions. The best choice for ice cream is obviously the cone. There's no waste, it's delicious, it looks great, and everything's going to go in their stomach, which is, time consuming, but it can be done, and there's ways around that. Which I can discuss individually. And ice cream, obviously, in a craft paper bowl with a cardboard spoon is another great option. Okay. Here's just some samples of canteens that I work at that I just mentioned. The homemade icy poles using 100% juice, and the one, the large photo has blueberries inside it. This could be a plethora of stuff you can chop and change the flavors. Use berries or items that might be almost on its way out. So we're eliminating food waste by trying to stack lots of yummy things inside there. You can use cacao, you can use coconut milk, you can make dairy-free or with dairy. And there's the stainless steel molds that we purchased for a school off of eBay. Very simple to use, and that's what they look like when they come out. The bottom right, your left, is just a plastic mold that they've had for several years using a paddle pop stick. Again, filling it up with 100% juice with not from concentrate, making it a slightly healthier, the profit margin being 110% more than they would if they would have purchased it in plastic. So another topic I try to discourage people from using is muffin liners. So the muffin liner filled with all the chocolate muffin mix on right there in the first photo cannot be recycled. It is too dirty and will contaminate the recycling. So there are muffin liners that if you feel that you have to use them, I would suggest using unbleached muffin wraps that are certified compostable and that chlorine free. You can find them online. Again, you can tear them up and put them in the compost. If you have a composting system, they won't be able to go in the recycling system as well because they'll be contaminated. But the best choice for making muffins is using a silicone muffin pan or muffin liners. They're extremely easy to use. They are very well priced. They are an investment for the canteen. You will no longer need to purchase muffin liners, which is spending money, obviously. A silicone muffin pan might cost $5 to $12. You can get them in a variety of sizes, and the kids can just eat them straight from that on a tray or in their lunch bags. Okay. Okay, so another really big topic is obviously sandwiches and wraps and things like that coming over the canteen. We never want to use cling film. It's toxic and it's obviously not recyclable. We've spoken about that. We'd like to wrap sandwiches in unbleached brown sandwich wrap, which can come from a lot of distributors at the moment. So very easy, very important that you ask them for unbleached, compostable, recyclable, and some even biodegradable, depending on where you get it. That's the sandwich at the bottom and the wrapper in. You can keep them in that. They do keep everything fresh. There is the cardboard wrap container up top, which again, obviously is a great choice. It can be recycled and composted, but you will need to remove the plastic window. But, it's all with baby steps. And if you feel you need to try all things first and not ready to go one way or another, you can start with that and maybe the sandwich wrap next, or vice versa. Obviously, the sandwich wrap is the cheapest, most inexpensive choice. So again, making it the best choice. On the final side is the triangle sandwiches, which the wedges, which most of my high schools were using, which now a lot of them use the paper one at the bottom. And, we try to teach the kids to rip the window out. It's not 100% great, but it's 90% great, and that cardboard will get recycled. And so that is the best choice. But again, sandwiches like that can be wrapped just like the far left in unbleached sandwich wrap. Next slide, please. So a really great, easy, really quick tip that you can change right away in a canteen is when you get your fruit and veg from your provider, whether that's Woolies, Kohl's, or your local wholesale distributor, is to ask them to just bring your fruit and veggie not in a plastic bag. So for many, many years when I worked in canteens, you'd get 1 cucumber in a bag, 2 tomatoes in a bag, some broccoli in a bag. Once you just say no plastic, they're happy to give it to you just like that one in the right in a box, just the way it should be. Everything will come in that. So that can be done tomorrow. When you go into the canteen and you're doing your next order, where there may be, please just write down no plastic, and that's a quick change. So the dream of canteens is to be reusable. I mean, that's ideally the best that we can do to help save the planet and to eliminate plastic and waste. There's an image on the top left, which is a plant-based container, which I think has lasagna in it, you can see. That is a fantastic choice. A lot of high schools use that. It's 100% plant-based, compostable, and recyclable. And obviously that's a bamboo wooden fork as well. So those are fantastic choices if you feel that you're not ready to go reusable, and most schools need to take that in small steps. The other images are pictures of recyclable containers that are made from rice. They are biodegradable, they are compostable, and they are non-toxic in any way. Those are containers that I use at schools of mine that wish to change to reusable. The top, very top one is a Sistema, which most of us have at home. That is a local school here on the Northern Beaches that just went out and bought loads of those, and they use those for all of their food, hot and cold, and they have used those for several years now. They wash them in the dishwasher, the commercial dishwasher, and they get them returned to the canteen. That is just another easy choice to not frighten you away from thinking you need to purchase some really expensive reusable containers. Some schools use the ones that they've had in Lost and Found for a very long time, get those super clean, and then use those for over-the-counter and lunch orders. And at the bottom are some stainless steel round bowls that some schools use with silicone lids as an option. So those are just images for you to look at later. These are images of a school using reusable drink bottles. Bilgola Plateau uses those for hot and cold drinks and yogurt and soup. So really versatile, small hydro flask type drink that obviously is branded with their school name on them. So if they end up in the backpacks and at home, moms and dads will know that those belong to the canteen. Really great choice. I have a few schools using those in all different sizes for different things. Reusable lunch bags, which some schools use. There's one option there, which is fantastic. They just go to the student, just like a paper bag with their label in it that most of us use on flexi schools. Instead of using a sticker, it's actually a paper label, which can be put in the paper recycling after. So these are just some images of silicone muffin liners that are used for small fruit portions over the counter, stainless steel bottles, melamine cups, just for you to see options that other schools are, how they're doing it at their school. Again, this is the way Bilgola Plateau, very simply, and that's why I wanted to show you. It doesn't have to be anything really advanced. They put their labeled buckets that they had, I think, left over from the library. They didn't even go out and buy these. They put them up there on the canteen window. The kids put their stuff in it. They would empty their containers into a big bucket on the side of those trolleys that went to their compost system. They had a worm farm and a compost system. And then that's it. The canteen would wash them, put them away, and then on to the next day. So a very, very simple way to use reusables in a school. This I won't go into too much. It's for you to look at your leisure. It's a reusable item checklist when you feel that your school might be ready or is ready, or maybe next year or next term. These are some ideas of how just snapshots. Obviously, there's a lot more to talk about, but ways to implement a reusable system at your school, how to get your SRC involved, how will they get back to the window, incentives, how do you wash them, and questions you might have. So this is a really good tool for you to look at when we're done. And any questions you might have, please feel free to email me and we can go into it a little bit in more detail. and how to offset certain costs if you want to implement a reusable system at the bottom to implement fundraising or sustainability levies at your school. Here's a picture of schools and how they do it very simply, a certain bin setup of how I always suggest if you've got bins or you need to get new bins in your area, if you're going to use reusables this way, make sure there's photos on everything for kids to see, especially in a primary level. You want to put photos of all the school, of all the food, the popular items they might be bringing from home and what bin that's going to go into. What items they're going to get from the canteen and what bin that should go into, and all the composting one, what items can and cannot go into a compost bin. So that's just a quick snapshot of Wheeler Heights Public School and how they did it, 5 or 6 years ago. So yeah, and they're still going strong. So this is an upgraded bin system. I wanted to show this for schools that might be interested in implementing a little bit nicer self-contained bin system. These are 80% recycled bins from recycled plastic out of a company from New Zealand called Method. And what they do with their signage on the back, you can see landfill, recycling, deposit, paper, organics. It can be anything you want it to be. It can be images that fit your school, items that kids are bringing from home or from the canteen. It can be anything you want. It can be images that are more cartoon-like for students at a primary level. So this is, it can be 2 of these bins. It can be 3 of these bins. If you don't have an organics, you don't get it. So it is a wide variety. These are a fantastic, beautiful bin system that keeps everything nice and tight and looking good. And like, as I mentioned, your images can go on a backdrop like that or on the front of the bins as well. So just a really nice bin system. Just wanted to remind everybody about companies called Recollect and Recycle Smart. They help you with recycling items. Recycle Smart does do schools. You'll need to look if it's in your school area. I have a feeling they're not in Ku-ring-gai Council yet, but they are working in council by council. But these are just some companies that I offer as a solution to help pick up your soft plastics, to help pick up return and earns, which make it great for schools because, as we know, canteen managers, volunteers, and teachers are always and already run off their feet. So if we can get companies to come in and help pick up the items and with Recollect, give you back your 10% deposit to go towards your bottom line of your sustainability or the canteen levy, it's absolutely fantastic. So if you want any more information on those 2 companies, have a look on their website or please let me know if you'd like some more information. And just to remind everybody as we wrap this up, I've just briefly gone over really what I'm always asked when I visit canteens, the most important things. So, the soy sauce, the sushi, the drinks, the icy poles, the containers. So that's why there's 1,000 other things I could have spoken about getting rid of and going into detail, but we, only have a little bit of time here. We don't want to bore you, but we want to give you the main items that we'd love for you to try to tackle. But remember, there is a ban on single-use plastic. You're not to be using single-use cutlery and you're not to be using straws. And so if you're still using them in your canteen, please rapidly wind those down because you're actually not to be using those anymore. There is drop-off areas in certain councils around New South Wales where you can drop off your unused single-use plastic that is banned. Have a look at your council website for that. And any other questions, I'd love to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shireen. Thanks for that amazing presentation full of so much information. I was really impressed with the number of the amount of plastic that you can save by saying no to sushi sleeves. 28,000 pieces of plastic in a year. That's incredible. We do have some questions. So, Shireen, there's a question here for you from Gemma.
Mm-hmm.
Gemma says, "Hi, Shireen. Have you run P&C canteens, Department of Ed, or are you a private contractor?"
No, I have only run P&C canteens, and I've worked privately as a consultant for several tender-owned canteens. But when I was a canteen manager, it was only P&C canteens.
Okay, thanks. I hope that answers your question, Gemma. This is another question here from Jen. Jen has asked, Along the sushi line, what about baby sushi?
Mhm.
Our large ones are naked, but the baby ones are still in the plastic
Yeah.
clam.
So I get this asked a lot. And, I know baby sushi is very popular with primary school, especially small children. I mean, all the way through year 6. There is a company that I work with here on the Northern Beaches called Sushi Hub. They did bring in craft cardboard small boxes to replace the non-recyclable bento boxes that you get with the baby sushi. However, that's very rare. And he did stop that during COVID for a bit because he couldn't find the staffing and all that. So my simple answer on baby sushi, if you want to get rid of a single-use plastic item that is not recyclable, is not to sell it. Now, I know that's not something you want to hear, but it is the answer to a huge problem. The schools that I've worked in that have stopped selling that haven't lost any business. It is an adjustment. They let the parents know, but a baby sushi is really a hand roll cut down small. So children will get used to the change. And that's once you explain to your school community that what you're trying to do is become a more sustainable canteen. And these are the reason we no longer sell baby sushi is because it comes in a container that is not recyclable. And there isn't a better option at the moment. I did have a school that got the baby sushi sent and gave the sushi provider the BioPack containers. But again, the BioPack containers that have a plastic lid, a PET lid, are not recyclable. The bottom is compostable, but only in a BioPack compostable machine. So it is just as bad as the original choice, which is the baby bento in plastic. So unfortunately, I don't have a miracle answer except to not sell it and to offer more hand rolls, more choices, unless you want to get a craft box and repack the baby sushi. And I know you're probably saying, no way, we don't have time, not going to happen. So yeah, that is my simple answer to baby sushi.
Thank you, Shireen. Okay, that's a good solution. All right, moving along now. We're running a little bit short of time. I would like to introduce our next speaker, Kate Reid, the canteen manager from Wakehurst Public School in Belrose on Sydney's Northern Beaches. Wakehurst Public School is a mid-sized kindergarten to year 6 school with 400 students. Kate has become a canteen manager to be closer to her kids who attend the school. She'll tell us how she has implemented many of Shireen's strategies into Wakehurst's canteen. Take it away, Kate.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for giving me a chance to just run through a few of the points that we here at Wakehurst have done after being with the council program and in consultation with Shireen. So I come from a financial services background, worked in funds management for almost 20 years. We actually knocked down our house and had to relocate to Wahroonga for 2 years. And so I quit my job and became a taxi driver for my children to get them to and from school. And when our then canteen manager was leaving, I'd been volunteering there and I jumped at the chance to take a job that offered me a better quality of life and to be closer to my children. And obviously through that, I wanted to be able to provide an exciting, healthy menu for the kids. And in the last 12 months that's taken on more of an environmental focus as well. So that's my background. The best way to tackle taking on some environmental changes is to start small. And I am the first person to admit that I probably wasn't very good environmentally before I started this program. And I've actually learnt a lot, not just for my canteen, but for my home life. And I'm more considerate with the packaging and recycling and everything that I do here. So it's not about thinking, how do I get from point A to point Z? It's more about taking one small step makes you actually feel so good about what you're doing for the environment that it then encourages you to take another step. So when you're starting out, just think of the easy things that you can get rid of. And like Shireen said, for me, that was the soy sauce fish and that was the squeezy sauces. They were the two first easy swaps to make out. So if you choose a few easy things to do first, it really does get the ball rolling. Then if you can consult with an expert, consult with your council, and they can provide more specific guidance and ideas as to your next steps and a plan that you can make. And then following on from that, you can make a more thorough list of the things that you would like to change within your canteen. Now, we are a PNC run canteen, and I had lots of support from them to get all of this started. So then this slide here, it is my plan that I had made, and I've just put some result information, and it also shows that the last one down the bottom I still haven't completed. It's still a work in progress because that's what life is. So the easiest changes at first, we actually got rid of our plastic straws before the single-use plastics ban came in. And my little table there, we were using about 52 plastic straws a week, 2,000 plastic straws per year. Now we use barely any straws. The kindies do like a paper straw with their milk, so we do still have paper straws, but obviously they're a much better choice for the environment. The soy sauce fish, they were easy to get rid of, and in the next couple of slides I've got some photos of all the swaps that we made. So we swapped out the soy sauce fish for squeezy bottles of soy sauce at a sauce station. As Shireen said, there are some decisions that I didn't make. One decision that I did make about the sushi was we just did get rid of the baby sushi because the sushi provider that we have at Forest Way, the hand rolls are bigger, they're better value, and they don't come wrapped in plastic or anything like that. So that was a easy decision for us to make at the start. There was a bit of pushback, but when people see how big the hand rolls are and that they are such better value, they were quite happy to move along with that. So yeah, at our school, we're saving about 4,000 soy sauce fish, plastic fish per year by using the squeezy reusable bottles. Plastic bags, that's more me when I do the grocery shopping at Woolworths. So I use the reusable bags for all our fruit and veg and the reusable shopping bags, again saving around 650 plastic bags per year. We started off using compostable paper cups for things like rice cups and hot Milo. We were, shame on us, using styrofoam cups, which is terrible, so I was quite happy to get rid of them. Again, saving around 760 of them per year. All of our food gets wrapped in the unbleached compostable paper. We also got rid of all of the lined grease-proof bags. That is a bit confronting. We do still sell hash browns, and the oil that comes through them can be quite startling sometimes. But that, again, I think makes people make a different choice too, because you're thinking about your health as well. We do vegetable composting in the canteen, and the school has a green team that empty that compostable bin for the end of each day. I'm not sure which company our PNC got, but we do have return and earn bins that we made up that get put into a big green auto bin and collected by a company every time they get full, and then they return and earn them for us and send the money back to us. The biggest thing that we did with regards to, I really wanted to get to a reusable container place with our school, and I thought with 400 kids it was definitely achievable. And I just sort of said point blank to my canteen, if everyone is on board with this environmental push, I need a commercial dishwasher, and they were more than happy to get that for me. So I was very lucky. They installed the commercial dishwasher. Then we swapped out the paper cups for reusable cups. So for things like, we do a boiled rice cup, for the kids. We have a reusable cup, reusable spoon. And when I don't have bins for the kids to bring it back because I give them a breadstick for returning all of their reusable items. So they get a little treat to return it, but it works wonderfully. I can't express how everybody likes a little something, don't they? And kids are no different. So a breadstick, plain breadstick for returning their items, and we've had very, very few go missing. So yes, we use reusable containers for salads, for nachos, cups for Milo, rice cups. Salads, we use the reusable containers. The cutlery, we either use reusable cutlery or the wooden cutlery. And we also sell an item called a snack pack, which we got little bento boxes, and you can, I think I've got a photo of that coming up too. And the item that is still in progress for us is remove items that have a great deal of unsustainable packaging. We've just added Pure Pops to our menu, which are a local company to us on the Northern Beaches. They are like a paddle pop, but the plastic that they're wrapped in is actually compostable, but not in like a professional compostable bin, but just in any bin. So we've got those on the go at the moment. I know that there is more I could do, especially with our frozen selection. And so that's another thing for me to keep working on with the parents and the P&C. So my next slides are, what does this look like? So these boxes are the ones that we got through the Swap for Good program that the Northern Beaches Council ran last year. These are, I think they're the same containers that Shireen showed of hers. So on the left-hand side, you've got the salads that we make. And on the right-hand side, we've got them as the bento box as they're meant to be used, but that little divider is removable. So that's the snack pack on the left-hand side, which is vegetable sticks, cucumber, carrot, cheese slices, and rice crackers. So they're the reusable ones that we get back, and they can be put into our dishwasher. And then on the next slide, we've got the first one there is my sauce station. So that goes out. We only have sushi on Fridays. So that's what it looks like on a Friday. I've got a folding table. I've got a little tray, and we just take it out and put it under the cola with the sauce bottles that I refill and the soy sauce. And for some reason, it's like a mad panic. Kids love to bring all that stuff back into me. I've just had to tell them it's first in, best dressed now, because they come and try and book me out for the whole week who can bring the sauce station in. So the kids do like being involved. Then the next picture there are the rice cups. So we do boiled rice all throughout the year, and they're just little coloured cups from IKEA, and the kids love them and they fill them up with their own soy that they want. And yeah, they're the things that they bring back. And if someone is lazy and chucks it on the ground, there will always be someone who wants to bring it back for that breadstick. The next picture along there is our 20-cent ice blocks. So they're plastic molds that we fill with 100% juice and pop the paddle pop straw in. They're my biggest selling item. They are quite small because they're for primary school, and I actually worked out that I get a 300% profit back for them. And so they're amazing, and the kids love them, all different flavors of juice. And then the last picture there, I actually use silicone molds, and these, we call them the milk pops. And we do frozen chocolate milk, frozen strawberry milk, and frozen vanilla custard. I totally stole that idea from my eldest son's high school, which is Davidson High School here in Belrose. Again, they've just started, they sell like hotcakes. They're 50 cents. And they're another totally sustainable product that you can make in-house. And then the last slide are just another couple of things that we do. So on the left there, I used to sell things called Milo Monster Bites, and I use little plastic bags that had a picture of a monster face on them. When Shireen came into the canteen and told me that that was the thing that I absolutely had to get rid of, and I agree, I couldn't let my little touch of something exciting fall by the wayside. So we use the unbleached paper bags, but I bought on eBay a whole lot of monster stamps, and it does take a little bit of time, but that's my flair. I stamp all the bags with little monsters, so they're now the Milo Monster Bikes. It's just Milo cereal put into the little bags like that. And then the last picture there is our return and earn mini bins. So they go out in the playground, and at the end of lunchtime, I empty them into the big auto that gets collected, because we have very thorough cleaners at our school who like to try and empty every bin that looks like one of their bins. So we needed to make these little bins so that they knew not to take all the recycling bottles and cans. And that's it. So, as I said, the most important thing is just to take a few little steps yourself. It will make you feel 1,000 times better just within yourself about what you're doing for the environment. And you will be surprised at how much support is out there in the form of parents, the school, and also the kids.
Excellent. Thank you, Kate. That was amazing.
Thank you.
That was a really, really great presentation. It was really great to hear about your insights into how you've managed to make your canteen much more sustainable. That's great. I would also like to add at this point in time that if you've got any questions for Kate, or for Shireen for that matter, then please type them in the Q&A box, because we've actually only got about 7 minutes left. Just moving along, I'd also like to let everyone know that we at Council can also support your school or your centre. You can get a free return and earn bin for each of your campus of your primary or your high school. And you can also attend some private free worm farming and composting workshops out at Kimbrickie Eco House and Garden. So that's just for teachers and staff, but they pop up a few times a year. There's another one coming up, I think, in the next few months out there, and that's free, but it's first in, best dressed, and the last lot of workshops were booked out. And sorry, moving along, soft plastics are actually going to be collected very soon, and Shireen, you'll be very impressed to hear that Recycle Smart are actually going to start collecting that soon, but it's not official yet. We've just got to wait until all the paperwork is completed, but that is definitely happening in Ku-ring-gai. And the other thing that schools can take advantage of are free waste workshops with the Environmentals program. And these are really great hands-on, informative, engaging workshops that teach students about waste solutions. There are topics such as worm farming, composting, recycling, which bin you use for what, and waste-free lunches. So they're really great. But it's first in, best dressed, but get involved. Let me know if you would like any more information about that. Our waste team organises all of those services that I've just mentioned. The other thing is that we have information on our website about recycling. There's a really fantastic hard to recycle map, which has been created by our volunteers, our net zero champions. So both of those are there on the website. And of course, the Compost Revolution Ku-ring-gai offers a 40% discount on all compost bins, bokashi bins, worm farms, and all of the accessories that you might need. You just go to the website, and as long as you're within Ku-ring-gai, you are entitled to that. So I can see that there aren't any questions in our Q&A box for now, but if you've got a question, then just pop it straight in. I have a question for Shireen. Shireen, you have a huge wealth of knowledge about switching to reusables, about reducing plastics and sourcing packaging and strategies for effective recycling. But how do you stay so up to date with all of these things?
Me? Well, that's a good question. It's research. It's being involved with like-minded people that also share their knowledge with me, going to a lot of conferences and joining other webinars with maybe not canteen specific, but broadening my horizon with circular economy and of other cafes and other areas, and stealing people's knowledge and ideas, and researching a lot on the internet all over the world of what the latest upcoming packaging might be, or what other schools around the world are doing. When I'm home in America, I visit schools and see what they're up to, and other countries as well online. I mean, that's when online becomes your biggest tool, but really spending time with like-minded, sustainably minded people that give me ideas or solutions to, you know, I don't know everything, that's for sure. And I'd love if someone out there listening, if they know something, I'd love them to share it with me, because what I do is I get to share it with all my schools, and potentially new schools, old schools, keeping them up to date on new tricks of the trade. So that's really how I do it.
Thank you, Shireen. A question for Kate. Kate, how have the families of Wakehurst Public School reacted to all your sustainable changes? Has there been a positive response?
There's absolutely been a positive response. Our P&C has been incredibly encouraging. So by the first instance, because they're made up of parents from the school, they've always been very supportive of this. And I get a lot of volunteers that come in as well, who are also, I get the vibe from them that they're very conscious about the environment, and very happy with a lot of the changes that we've made. I think the key really is just keeping the variety in the food and finding ways to make it sustainable, and then realistically everyone stays pretty happy.
Fantastic. That sounds good. And one last question for you, Kate. How do you have any advice for recruiting canteen helpers? How do you get them on board and train them up?
It's an interesting question, because I have heard, like, my son's school struggling to find volunteers, and yet I find that our school there are some days that I can only offer people one day every second term, because we've got so many volunteers. It's about providing a fun and happy environment for them to work in, but engaging with their children as well. The government's bringing in, the food standards are bringing in some new rules coming in December, where all volunteers at a lot of canteens are going to have to do a 30-minute food handling course. But I'm not particularly worried about the parents at our school, only because I've built a relationship with them, but also with their children. I'm a friendly face who's there to nourish them in different ways than the teachers are. And that's part of my job that I've enjoyed the most. And making environmental swaps has been easy because the kids already know it. They're far ahead of where I am. And so I think it's just about that, engaging with as many people as you can at your school, and being welcoming, and just explaining that, giving them explanations about why you're doing certain things, and people understand.
Great. That sounds great. Thank you, Kate. Well, that's about all that we've got time for today. It's just hit 4:30. So I'd like to thank everybody for being a part of today's webinar. And I'd particularly like to thank Kate and Shireen for your amazing presentations, and all of your wealth of knowledge that you've been able to share with us today. Please be in touch with Shireen, Kate, and myself if you have any queries about anything you've seen this afternoon. You'll all receive an email following today's webinar with links to further information. We'll also be sending out a survey for you to complete, and I'd really appreciate it if you would complete the survey to help us to make this better for next time. Thank you for coming to our webinar today, and we'll see you all again very soon. Thank you, and bye for now.